Hello, Sarah. So we're going to be taking a look at your 5 characteristics of light posting, offer a little bit of feedback in terms of what we're seeing. And so let's jump right in, take a look. First of all, excellent. You've got your name on there. I know that sounds like, okay, so you have your name. But yeah, a few students forgot to do that. Not having this up here is like not having a subject line for an email. It's sort of like, oh, what is this going to be about? So make sure you have that. Also, good job in terms of identifying the positions here and the labeling. That's an important thing because although there's quite a bit of creativity that goes into these experiments. There's a lot of technical things that go into it, and having the labels on there suggests that you are paying attention and also that you're following instructions. So very good. So let's take a look. Direction should see that wheel. Position 3, position 4, position 5. It looks like you're following that compass all the way around. Very good. And you're also breaking up the compositions as you're going, which is also very good. You're changing the compositions out each and every time. Good use of the entire picture plane. And, as far as composition goes, it sort of has been breaking down in 2 different camps. By the way, this is the last of the recordings that I've been doing because you were the first to post. This is the last video recording composition. So I've been talking about these kinds of things for everybody else's videos. And so what I found is we have 2 categories. One, where students spend an extraordinary amount of time on the direction component because it was the first one and they were just exploring and then didn't move forward. They spent maybe 2 whole sessions on direction and then 1 section trying to finish the rest of it. Or on the other side, as they moved fluidly through all of them and the compositions started to improve as they went. So in the first group where they spent a lot of time, the compositions tended to look really great. And then the composition sort of fell off a little bit as we continued forward because you ran out of time, or you just sort of progressively got better at making photographs using the bottles. And so the compositions improved. These are sort of in the middle. I would say you've done a good job in terms of composing using the entire picture plane. That means from edge to edge, you're addressing everything. It's not as if you're plunking objects in the middle of the composition and just making a photo. Using the entire plane, kind of getting in there, it helps sort of break up the idea that this is a collection of bottles and moves us more toward the idea of shapes. So that's very good. Images like this where you're allowing shadows to define the shapes, that's excellent. It's exactly the kind of thing that we're looking for. So that's good, although they don't quite go as far as in some cases students allow them to go. All right, so now we're moving forward into intensity. We're seeing some repetition now, which you want to, unless otherwise identified, and the project we're about to do, Aesthetics and Control, there'll be instruction where it's like the same photograph over and over and over again. In this case, we don't want that. We want to break up the compositions so that it's a unique composition for every single image. Very good though. I mean, in terms of your identifying 1 to 4, 1 to 2, those all seem accurate. 1 to 10, wow, that's a huge difference. That would have been a very difficult to achieve if you did, which means basically that the key light is not affecting it at all. 1 to 10 means that for every key light you have, it would take 10 fill lights in order to do it. So if that's the case, that's a good job. It's just I understand that that's what that ratio means, 1 to 10. Here we're using the same composition over and over again. 1, 2, 3. We just shifted focus. Try to avoid that moving forward. Same thing here. And your shooting partner, Lindsay, who I know you shot with, had the same issue to come up where she was using basically the same composition over and over again. And we want to avoid that. So I won't go on about it, anymore, but just know that the expectation, unless otherwise identified, is that each composition is unique. Each composition is different from photo to photo to photo, unless otherwise identified, which we will be doing in the aesthetics and control project. Other than that, you're identifying exactly the color temperature. You're saying what your camera is set on perfect. All of that is good technical wise on these. We could see a little bit more variation like in this one where you're getting multiple sort of shades, and that's excellent. That's what we're looking for. The kind of complexity that you get when you have the very warm over here and the very cool over there, that's the kind of discovery that I'm hoping that you will be able to make. I can see right away that the repetition continues here. We're not going to go on about it, but try to avoid that again. Let's take a look at contrast. Now, contrast has to do with filling in using a card. So we have one key light and then we're filling into the rest of the scene. And it looks like you're effectively doing that. Here you can see you got a shadow and then it fills in the shadow here in a variety of different ways. We won't mention, what I want to mention, which is the compositions. But other than that, the technical is going really well. Here we have the hardness. Again, excellent, excellent job. You're identifying what these images are. It helps to know that you are paying close attention to that as we go. You're using the entire picture plane for the most part. I think you can still get a little bit closer and kind of get in there with your compositions. Both diffuse, you can see how soft the shadows are. Now, notice that when you have the mix, when you have just one light diffused, you're getting this sort of mixture. You get soft shadows next to hard shadows, and that's the kind of complexity we're looking for. And that's the character of hardness. When we can create an image that has hard shadows and soft shadows, it adds this extra layer of complexity to our imagery without having to add actual complexity. It just makes the shadows have a variety of character to them. That's what we're trying to do. Well, let's take a look at your peer evaluations here. Pros and cons to adjusting the environment in which your shapes live because the subject is controlled variable while it does not offer much variation. And I'm not exactly, I'll have to read that again. There are pros and cons to adjusting the environment in which your shapes live because the subject is a controlled variable, while it does not offer much variation in your shadow shapes. Okay, I'm not sure what that is really saying other than, you've got, maybe they're talking about the compositions, but just in a very obtuse way. Light diffusion could have been more drastic. There was a little variation in the soft and hard shadows. Very subtle, yeah, I would agree with that. Well thought out, the temperature is conveyed well. The feature to play with the compositions so your shapes help create more dynamic photos. Yep. Change up the compositions. Good job, keep it up. That's at the end, great. Surprise factor. Overall, it shows that you understand each element. I would say yes, I would say you're totally understanding the techniques of each of these experiments. You're handling the camera very well. There's a lot that's really working very good here. It really just comes down to, we gotta vary up that composition. We don't wanna have the same photo over and over and over again in these unless otherwise instructed. So nice job. I think you might want to go in and reevaluate and switch out some photos and kind of break it up composition wise. But other than that, you're getting the technical part of the exercise, which is the majority of it. So these, hopefully is helpful to you in terms of giving you some feedback. And we'll continue forward with aesthetics and control. And then if you feel like you want to do some reshooting or do some reevaluating of this posting, you'll be welcome to do that. You'll also get a numeric evaluation, like a grade, from me in addition to this video feedback. So look forward to seeing more of your photographs, and we will see you in the studio.